You run the same video job through Seedance 2.5 and MiniMax H3, and one bill is 40 times bigger than the other. Same output, wildly different cost. Seedance 2.5 is ByteDance's polished, closed-source video model, and MiniMax H3 is the open-weight challenger, so the real question is whether the quality gap is actually worth the price gap. One of the biggest problems I run into when using AI agents is turning their output into YouTube content I can actually use to market my product. That's why this video is sponsored by Subscriber, a tool that helps business owners connect their AI agents to YouTube and market their products without spending 10 hours every week creating content. You can connect Claude or ChatGPT directly to Subscriber. It then analyzes your business, website, and YouTube channel to help you create SEO-optimized video ideas, scripts, thumbnails, and even complete videos that actually match your brand. What I like most is that every week, Subscriber gives me a list of high-potential video ideas I can immediately execute, and it can even help edit videos for me, with or without my face, including videos like the one you're watching right now. It's easy to get started, and you can try Subscriber for free using the link in the description below. Now back to the video. Test 1, cost per generated second. You're spinning up a product ad, 15 seconds of 2K footage. You hit submit without checking the pricing page first, and on Seedance 2.5, that 15-second clip runs you over $80. While on MiniMax H3, the same clip is under $2, so watch what that does to a monthly budget. I pulled community-reported pricing from WaveSpeed and Atlas Cloud, so Seedance's number is a projection, rather than an official rate, but it's the best figure I could find. MiniMax H3 clocks in at 13 cents per second of 2K video. Seedance 2.5 is projected at $5.48 per second, and a 5-second clip runs 65 cents on MiniMax versus $27.40 on Seedance. MiniMax H3 takes cost, and it's not subtle. 42 times cheaper per second is the number, and that's the figure this whole comparison turns on, which puts MiniMax H3 up 1-0, and I'll be straight with you. I didn't expect the gap to be that wide when I started pulling these figures. I've burned enough API budget on video models to know that pricing pages are the last thing you read, and the first thing that hurts, so drop a comment if a surprise bill has ever made you switch tools mid-project. Test 2, coding benchmark performance. I know what you're thinking. Why are we looking at coding scores for two video models, but MiniMax H3 is built on the M3 parent model, which does have real benchmark data, and Seedance 2.5 has none at all. So the question is whether the underlying architecture even belongs in the same conversation. MiniMax's M3 model scores 59% on SWE Bench Pro and 66% on Terminal Bench 2.1, both vendor reported, so take those directionally. But Seedance 2.5 simply has no coding benchmark data because coding is out of scope for a video model, and the on-screen cards show one side populated and one side blank, which pretty much tells the story. MiniMax H3 takes this one by default. The parent M3 has real scores and Seedance 2.5 has none, because video is its whole job, and that moves MiniMax to 2. Seedance stays at 0, with the real fight still coming in the video quality dimensions ahead. Test 3, speed. 9 times faster pre-filling and 15 times faster decoding. Those are the numbers MiniMax is claiming for the M3 architecture underneath H3. And for a creator running a batch of clips on a deadline, slow generation kills your window. So let's see what the actual data looks like for both models. I went through both companies' published specs, and the picture is pretty one-sided. MiniMax's M3 architecture claims 9 times faster pre-filling and 15 times faster decoding. Vendor numbers so directional, not gospel. While Seedance 2.5 is expected to offer near real-time generation, but ByteDance hasn't confirmed that as of July 2026, so one side has numbers on the board, and the other has an unverified claim. MiniMax H3 takes speed, the M3 architecture has actual figures on the board, and Seedance's real-time claim is still unconfirmed, so the directional call goes to MiniMax. That's 3-0, and the part that got me is that Seedance is the more expensive model and still doesn't have published speed data to back up the premium. MiniMax looks like the obvious pick right now, but the next two tests are the ones that could genuinely change your answer because output limits and deployment flexibility are still on the table. And if you need long-form cinematic footage or you care about self-hosting, the calculus gets a lot more complicated, so don't call it yet. Test 4. Context and output limits. You're producing a 30-second brand film. You need 4K output to hand off to a client. You pick the cheaper model, you get 15 seconds of 2K footage, and now you're stitching clips together and downscaling from a 2K source. That's a workflow problem that costs you time and kills the quality story you were selling, which is why max duration and resolution are not small details. I pulled the spec sheets and the gap is real. Seedance 2.5 generates up to 30 seconds natively and hits 4K with a beta ultra-long mode that reaches 180 seconds, while MiniMax H3 caps at 15 seconds and 2K, and Seedance also takes up to 50 multimodal references versus MiniMax's 9 images plus 3 clips, so the output ceiling cards on screen show Seedance well ahead. Seedance 2.5 takes context and output limits, double the duration, double the resolution, way more reference inputs, and that puts the score at 3-1, MiniMax still leading. And this is the one test where Seedance's premium starts to make sense if long-form cinematic work is your actual use case. Test 5. Deployment and modality. You're an indie creator who wants to self-host a video model, avoid censorship on creative projects, and start generating today. And closed source API only means you're renting access and playing by someone else's rules, while open weights mean you own the deployment, a real operational difference between shipping and waiting. MiniMax H3 is fully open weight on Hugging Face right now. Seedance 2.5 is closed source and its API was still rolling out as of July 2026. And while both models support text to video, image to video, and video to video generation, so on modes they're genuinely close, MiniMax adds native stereo audio at 32 kHz and an omni-reference mode, while Seedance adds green screen editing. But the availability gap is the thing that really separates them. The generation modes are genuinely close, both do text to video, image to video, and video to video, and each has a unique trick the other doesn't. But open weights versus closed source is a structural advantage, and if you need to self-host, avoid content restrictions. Or just start today. MiniMax H3 is the only one that lets you do all three. MiniMax H3 takes deployment, open weight, live now, and self-hostable, while Seedance is still rolling out behind a closed API. And the final score is MiniMax H3 4. Seedance 2.51, which is kinda wild because the cheaper model is also the more accessible one. Seedance 2.5 wins on raw output ceiling. You get 30 seconds of native generation, 4K resolution, and a beta ultra long mode that stretches to 180 seconds. Plus it accepts up to 50 multimodal references, so if you're doing rich, highly conditioned cinematic work, Seedance gives you tools MiniMax H3 simply doesn't have. MiniMax H3 wins on everything else. 42 times cheaper per second, open weight and self-hostable on Hugging Face. Live right now while Seedance's API was still rolling out. And the M3E architecture has real benchmark data behind it. So for high-volume creators or anyone who cares about owning their stack, MiniMax H3 is the default pick. If you need 4K, 30-second cinematic clips, and budget isn't the constraint, pick Seedance 2.5. For everyone else, MiniMax H3 is the answer. 42 times cheaper, open weight, and available today. One thing that didn't make it into the formal tests, heavy content moderation is pushing creators toward MiniMax H3, even when they'd prefer the quality ceiling, because the open weight model has no built-in censorship layer. So creative projects that get flagged on Seedance's API go straight through on a self-hosted H3 deployment. And that's a workflow difference the pricing page won't tell you. If the cost versus capability question got you thinking, I ran the same kind of breakdown on Claude Opus 4.8. That one's got a similar premium versus value tension. And the answer is genuinely less obvious than you'd think. The video is called Claude Opus 4.8, Still Worth Using, and it's worth a watch right after this.